Hi, this is the second part of the Stylized game asset creation series, in which I show how to export the model from Blender 2.8 to ZBrush 2018. This is the low poly arc that we created in Blender. We are in edit mode now. Then I go to object mode and duplicate the model. And this will be the one that I'm going to turn into a high poly mesh by using ZBrush. Okay, but before I export this as FBX, I go again to edit mode, select all by pressing A, then I press Ctrl and B to add a bevel to all the edges. This will make the edges appear crisp, and it's a good start for a stylized high poly mesh. I will come back to this when the model is imported. Okay, then I open File, Export FBX, and for the settings I use the selected objects only. I'm exporting the mesh, and all the other settings I keep as they are and press Export FBX. After that I open ZBrush and select the file template. It doesn't matter which one, because then I'm directly importing the FBX file using the plugin FBX Export Import. I press Import, select the FBX file, and then we get this terrible result. In this case, this happens because we are importing a mesh with n-gons, so let's see how to fix this. I go back to Blender to the mesh that we exported, press the F3 key and search for triangulate. Now we have a mesh that is triangulated, and to turn these triangles into quads I search for tris to quads. I want to export with as many quads as possible, because for these I get a really clean shading in ZBrush. So I export again, as we did before with the same settings, then I import with the same settings as well, and here we go. This is an import that we can work with. The next step is to turn this into a high poly mesh, and to do this I will use Dynamesh. Okay, so let's see how the polys look like. This is the low poly mesh. We can see the bevels that we added, and this gives us the indications where to add stylized edges. But before we can do this, I increase the resolution of the Dynamesh to, let's say, 700. Then I turn to Dynamesh and wipe with the mouse over the surface and have the Ctrl key pressed. And then I go to the polyframe mode again, and you can see we have a quite dense mesh. And once we have Dynamesh applied and have a more dense topology that we can work with, we can go ahead and use brushes like the Trim Dynamic or the Edge Polish to add those stylized edges to the mesh. But this is the topic of the next part, in which I will sculpt the high poly model with all the details, and I will also use free external brushes for this. I added again a link to the description below to a tutorial on Gumroad from a fellow artist, 3DX, in which a similar approach like the one that I'm showing here is explained, so be sure to check it out. If you like this channel, don't forget to subscribe. If you want to support me, think about being my patron, and I'll see you guys on JNM.